This is our 7.2 quiz review. On your quiz tomorrow, guys, pay attention to me. Nico, come on. You guys are going to have problems that are just like this, okay? I'm being extremely transparent with you. It's going to be very much like this, all right? You will be given, in class and at home, you will be given the sum and difference formulas, and you'll be given a unit circle, okay? So you guys are not required to have those memorized. There's going to be three kinds of problems. There's going to be problems like A and B here, where it's going to tell you to find the exact value. There's going to be problems like these here in the middle, where we work backwards, and every version will have one of these kind of problems. So we're going to work through each type, how to work them out, how to solve them, and then you guys will be good to go, okay? So if I look at this first one, first of all, what formula do they want us to use? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine, and you want the sine formula that they're doing what to each angle? That they're subtracting, okay? So they're telling you, hey, this is the one I'm going to use, right? The first thing you should do is to check to see if the angles that are given to you happen to be on the unit circle, because sometimes you might get lucky and they are. So 3 pi over 4. Is 3 pi over 4 on the unit circle? Yes, it is. Everybody see that? What is the ordered pair for 3 pi over 4? Negative root 2 over 2, positive root 2 over 2. So I'm going to just write that down. This is negative root 2 over 2 and positive root 2 over 2. All right, this is 3 pi over 4. 11 pi over 6. Let's see if that's on the unit circle. See if I was being nice to you guys. Was I? Yes, I was, right? 11 pi over 6. You guys see that ordered pair? Root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So let's write that down. Root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Now, you guys are going to say to me, how do I show work? This is exactly how I expect work to be shown. You need to tell yourself the x value is what? Sine or cosine? Cosine, good. The x value is your cosine. What is the y value? Perfect, good. So now you're telling yourself exactly what to plug in where. All right, so now your next step is to write down the formula. You're doing the sine of 3 pi over 4 minus 11 pi over 6. So that formula is right here. It's sine, cosine. So you're going to do the sine of 3 pi over 4 times the cosine of 11 pi over 6 minus cosine sine. So minus the cosine of 3 pi over 4 times the sine of 11 pi over 6. All right? All I did was look at the formula itself and fill in the two angles that I had. Now I'm going to substitute in the values that I already figured out. What is the sine of 3 pi over 4, guys? I have an arrow pointing to it. What's the sine of 3 pi over 4? Square root of 2 over? Perfect. What is the cosine of 11 pi over 6? Square root of 3 over 2. Minus, what is the cosine of 3 pi over 4? Negative square root of 2 over 2. And what is the sine of 11 pi over 6? Negative 1/2. If you guys write down this right here, you don't even have to think when you plug in the formula. You're literally looking at 3 pi over 4 and you've already drawn an arrow to what the cosine is. So you just fill in. It makes your life so much easier if you guys do that one extra step. Now we're going to simplify. What's the square root of 2 times the square root of 3? Square root of 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. Then I have minus, what is the negative square root of 2 times negative 1? Positive square root of 2 over 2 times 2 is 4. And I can simplify this one more little step. I can write the numerator, the square root of 6, minus the square root of 2 over 1 denominator, which is 4. And there's your answer. Questions? Together. All right, let's look at the next one. What's up? What's up?
In the beginning.
Sure. The question was, can you just convert 3 pi over 4 to 11 pi over 6 to degrees? Absolutely. I just didn't because I knew that they were on the unit circle. But yeah, no problem. All right. This next one says cosine of 285. Is 285 on the unit circle? No. So that means I have to find two angles that either add or subtract to 285. It doesn't matter as long as they add or subtract. So what are some possibilities I could use? 240 and 45, right? 240 plus 45. Okay. What else could I use? 225 plus 60. Yeah, that would work. Anything else? Could I do 135 plus 150? Yeah. So look, there's 3 different combinations. 3 people in here could have done that 3 different ways, but we'll arrive at the same answer. So, Hannah, what did you tell me?
240 and 45.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you. Cosine of, you said 240 plus 45?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not even going to worry about my formulas yet. I'm just going to go to my unit circle and find the ordered pairs for 240 and for 45. You guys with me? So 240 is negative 1/2 negative root 3 over 2. So negative 1/2 negative root 3 over 2. 45 is root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. Root 2 over 2, comma, root 2 over 2. All right, now before we look at formulas, I'm going to tell myself some information that's going to be super helpful. This first value is my what? Cosine. What's the second value? Sine. X is cosine, y is sine. All right, now that you guys have that written, now life is a little easier. All you have to do is just look. So which formula am I going to focus on? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Cosine. And what are we doing, guys, to these two angles? We're adding them. Look, remember that cosine formula is different. If I'm adding the two angles, my formula is cosine, cosine, what? Minus sine, sine. Don't get that confused, okay? So you're going to find, we're doing the cosine of 240 plus 45. So the formula is cosine of the first one, so cosine of 240 times the cosine of 45 minus, it's the opposite of whatever you're doing, sine 240 times the sine of 45. Now, this problem is a lot harder if I don't give you the formulas or the unit circle, but I'm giving you guys both. So you should not make silly mistakes here. Just be careful. So now let's fill in, guys. From our ordered pairs, what is the cosine of 240? Perfect. Negative 1/2. What is the cosine of 45? Square root 2 over 2. Good. Minus, what is the sine of 240? Negative square root of 3 over 2. Good. And then what is the sine of 45? Square root of 2 over 2. Wonderful. Now we just simplify. What's the negative 1 times the square root of 2? Negative square root of 2. And 2 times 2 is? Perfect. Minus. What's negative square root of 3 times 2? Sorry, negative square root of 3 times square root of 2 is negative 6 over 2 times 2 is 4. Well, guys, what do you notice here? 2 negatives give me a positive. So I can rewrite this. My numerator, square root of 2 plus the square root of 6 over 4. Now, Isabel, in this case, you could write square root of 2 plus square root of 6 or square root of 6 plus square root of 2 since it's addition.
Wait, that's a negative in front of the square root of 2?
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the
No, wait, where are you looking?
right there, is it negative square root of 2 plus not square root of it is? And why is it negative square root of
Right here, there should be a negative there. You're right. Yeah, sorry.
I thought just a little thing was, I don't know.
No, yeah, I think I thought in my mind that was the negative. Thank you. Yeah, it's negative root 2 plus the square root of 6. All right, so now let's go down here. A couple of you guys asked me questions about this on your website, and then most of you didn't. And I know you were like, I have no idea how to do this. What is she talking about? Guys, this is actually quite simple. You're working backwards. Okay, you're given the formulas, right? So they're asking you to do is they're telling you to write each expression as sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle, then find the exact value. When you do this, when you work backwards, the angle that you arrive at is going to be on the unit circle. So the first thing you do is you say, okay, look, let me look at this formula. It goes sine, cosine, minus cosine, sine. So let's go over to our formulas. It's definitely not tangent, right? Okay, so which formula, sine or cosine, goes sine, cosine, cosine, sine? The sine ones do. Agreed? Okay, so now, what's in between? A minus sign. So which formula has the minus sign? Whoops, I circled the wrong one. Hold on. Let's think about the next one, sorry. We said sine, so here's sine. All right, which formula has a minus sign in the middle? That formula, what are you doing to the two angles? You're subtracting. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to say this is really the sine of 210 minus 150. We identified which formula it was. What is 210 minus 150? So part of your answer is sine 60 degrees because it says to write each expression as a sine, cosine, or tangent. So the sine of 60 degrees, that 60 degrees is on your unit circle. So let's go to the unit circle for 60. My ordered pair is 1/2 root 3 over 2. So I have 1/2 and root 3 over 2. Now guys, remind yourself, what is that first value? Cosine. What is the second value? So to answer this question, guys, what is the sine of 60 degrees? The square root of 3 over 2. This is your whole answer. You have to have this written as a single trig function and then whatever the value is. So if you have a problem and they ask for the cosine, then you're looking for what value? The x. If they ask for the tangent, it's the what over what? Tangent is y over x. Okay, good. So look at this one. All right, which formula, obviously, guys, is this sine, cosine, or tangent? Tangent. So let's look at the tangent formulas. This one has a plus in the middle, right, on top? It's got a plus in the middle and a minus on the bottom, right? Okay, all right, cool, cool, cool. Plus on top, minus on the bottom. What are we doing to these two angles? We're adding them. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to smush this together. This is really the tangent of 300, what? Plus 30, correct? Which simplifies to the tangent of 330 degrees. Okay, that's part of my answer. So that means I go now to the unit circle, and I say, where's 330? What's my ordered pair? Square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So my ordered pair is the square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Now remind me again, what is tangent? Y over x, right? So my y value is negative 1/2 divided by the x value, which is root 3 over 2. How do we divide fractions? You keep, change, flip. So this gives me negative 1 over the square root of 3. Can I leave it like that? Nope, got to rationalize. So I get negative square root of 3 over 3. So my tangent is the negative square root of 3 over 3. That right there is your entire answer. Questions? This last one. This one's pretty easy, but you got to pay attention. Which formula, guys, sine, cosine, or tangent goes cosine, cosine, sine, sine? Which one says cosine, cosine, sine, sine? My cosines, right? Now, this is tricky because what is in the middle right here of the formula? A minus. Which one has a minus in the middle? What are you doing to the two angles? You're adding them, so make sure you guys don't mess that up. Don't try and do this too quickly. So this is really the cosine of 100 plus 50, which gives me what? Good, so that's part of your answer. Cosine of 150 degrees equals, well, go to 150. should have put more than one unit circle on this. 150 is negative root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So I have negative root 3 over 2 and 1/2. The first value is my cosine. The second value is my sine. So what is the answer here? What is the cosine of 150, guys? Negative square root of 3 over 2. Good. Does that make a little more sense now for those ones?
Yeah.
Okay. You're just working backwards. First, pick which formula you're using. Then do whatever you need to do to the angles, whether add or subtract them. Find it on the unit circle, and then tell the value. All right, everybody's going to have one of these. And these questions are not hard. It's just a lot of work, right? They're giving you two different triangles, two different trig functions. So what you have to do is simplify the left-hand side, simplify the right-hand side, then you're going to find the cosine of something. So remember, in this triangle, I have x, I have y, and I have r. If I'm given cosine, what am I given for cosine? What over what? X, perfect. X over r. Now, how do I know that that negative sign goes with the 4? There's two ways we can figure that out. How do I know that negative sign goes with the 4?
The R is gonna be negative.
R is never negative, right? So this is 5, this is negative 4. Another thing that can help you is they tell you that this angle lies in quadrant 2. Here's quadrant 2. What do you know about the x value in quadrant 2, and what do you know about the y value in quadrant 2?
The X is negative.
X is negative, y is positive. Good. So in order to find the y, we're going to use our Pythagorean theorem. Negative 4 squared plus y squared equals r squared. So 16 plus y squared equals 25. Y squared equals 9. So what's my y value? 3. Okay? Everybody with me? Now, we haven't even come close to answering this question, but we can do this. We can say, okay, for my theta, my triangle theta, I know that the sine is y over r. So it's 3 over 5. I know that the cosine of theta is negative 4 over 5. And I know that the tangent of theta is y over x, so 3 over negative 4, right? Okay, so let's do the same thing over here. I think this is an alpha that I drew. I need my x, I need my y, and I need my r. All right, they told me that the sine is what over what? Sine is y over what? R. So the sine is 20 over 29. I have to find x. Now, where does this angle lie? So look, if I am over here in quadrant 2, what do I know the x value is? Negative. If you guys forget that, you're going to get this question wrong. So now I'm going to use my Pythagorean theorem. I have x squared plus 20 squared equals 29 squared. X squared plus 400 equals, I think, at what, 841? X squared equals 441, not the road. What's the square root of 441? 21? You guys are going to have a calculator, so you need to make sure you know that. All right, so now let's fill in our little box here, like we did before. I know that the sine of my alpha is y over r, which is 20 over 29. I know that the cosine of this alpha is x over r, which is negative 21 over 29. And I know that tangent of alpha is y over x, so 20 over negative 21. Questions on how I just did that? All right, we have not answered the question yet. The question is to find the cosine of theta plus alpha. They're telling me what formula to use. They want the cosine of theta plus alpha. Well, what does that formula look like for cosine when I'm adding the two angles together? What's that formula look like? Tell me, guys. It's right here. So it's cosine, cosine. So cosine of theta times the cosine of alpha. Then what? Minus, good, the sine of theta times the sine of alpha. Now, the reason we did all of that work to find x, y, and r is so we can now plug in the trig ratios. We're not talking about angle measures on the unit circle right now. We're talking about trig ratios. So what is the cosine of theta? It's written down in the red box. What's the cosine of theta? Right there, guys. Negative 4 over 5. What is the cosine of alpha? Negative 21 over 29. All right, minus, you guys are going to be able to use a calculator tomorrow, so make sure we know how to use it. What is the sine of alpha? It's right there. 3 over 5. I'm sorry, sine of, well, it doesn't matter. Sine of theta. And then I have the sine of alpha is 20 over 29. Questions? Now we simplify. What's negative 4 times negative 21? Negative times a negative is a positive. Good. And 5 times 29 is 145. I already did this problem. Minus, what is 3 times 20? 60. Good. And what's 5 times 29? 145. At this point, guys, I told you, you should always get the same denominator. Is my denominator the same?
Yeah.
Yes. If it wasn't, then you put something in the wrong spot. All right, now if we simplify, what's 84 minus 60? 24 over 145. And the last thing I have to do is to make sure that I can't simplify this fraction anymore. You guys are allowed to use calculators. You're going to have them. If it does simplify it. This one does not, but leave it as a fraction. Don't give me a decimal equivalent. So right here is your answer for the cosine of alpha plus theta, or theta plus alpha, however you want to say it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what your quiz is going to look like. You're going to have a problem like A and a problem like B. Then you're probably going to have 2 of those little middle ones where you're working backwards, and you'll have 1 of this last one, just like this. All right, so I'm going to upload this video now. If you guys have any questions, please ask me, but that's exactly what your quiz is going to be like. You guys are going to have probably 35 minutes to do it. You're going to show all of your work, submit your work. That's what I'm going to grade, and then we'll be good. I promise you I will get